Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. The news is live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra. In Kumasi, it's on Love 99.5 FM and Radio Somali in Wa ATL FM in Cape Coast and Kekeli Radio in Ho. You can also download the My Joy Online app from Play Store and App Store to listen live around the world, also live on Facebook. In this edition, Central Commander for the Ghana Armed Forces claims demonstrators at a draw shot at them, forcing them to return fire and killing two.
For us to see civilians firing from the crowd, I think the commander at that stage then had to use minimum force by trying to fire to maim those who were involved.
We have more as he justifies why the military used live bullets to deal with the demonstrators.
When you give verbal warning, when you give warning shots, then within a particular place, you see people firing back from the crowd. Certainly you'll have to use live weapons.
We bring you updates of proceedings of the ongoing probe in the Ejura disturbances more than 2 years after government promised to build hostel facilities for 10,000 headquarters. Joy News Checks review, the pledge is yet to be fulfilled.
Lives of the people of Agbogboloshi matter as much as the lives of the people of East Legon or Cantonment.
On Joy Clean Ghana campaign today, clamping down on illegal public toilets within the city of Accra.
The breeding of flies here is serious. The stench alone that is emanating here to the neighborhood is not allowed. Is it not true? You know, why do you do it?
We're live in Jamestown, where majority of residents patronize highly in sanitary facilities. In sports,
we'll hear from a FIFA safety and security officer who has some answers to Ghana football's challenges with hooliganism. We preview tonight's Euro semi-final.
And later in showbiz. We put the spotlight on multi-talented musician, instrumentalist and producer Akwabua Jr., who has written for several popular musicians but is only starting to get the recognition he deserves. That and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. Thanks for choosing us. We are your home of bold, credible and fearless journalism. This afternoon, it has emerged that some residents in the Ejura demonstration fired shots at the security agencies, prompting a response from the military personnel. This resulted in the death of 2 and injury to 6 others. Central Commander of the Ghana Armed Forces, Brigadier General Joseph Afo, revealed this today when he testified before the Ministerial Committee probing the matter. According to him, personnel were left with no option than to return fire after assessing the situation. Brigadier General Afo disclosed 2 persons with weapons were arrested and handed to the police. Listen.
We started giving warnings, verbal warnings, that is done in the military. They couldn't heed to that. We fired warning shots. I think at the time that we fired the warning shot, we realized that some people were then firing within the crowd. Had fired one or two. Okay. So at that stage, it was becoming too bad for us to see civilians firing from the crowd. I think the commander at that stage then had to use minimum force by trying to fire to maim those who were involved. So if we realize that they fired and then we didn't have instant death within the crowd, I think they were evacuated to the hospital, and then I think we heard that two died. But at the instance of our father, I think the crowd actually withdrew and everything came under our control.
So, can you produce a copy of the incident report if you are...
I will clear that with my higher command as to whether it is the right thing to do to give military documents out. But no, for what we did that day, we believe and strongly believe that there will have been more deaths if we actually fire indiscriminately. More would have died. But we saw that only we tried to maim the people. We used the minimum force and were able to control the situation. But not for what we did in Ejura. I can bet you there will have been more casualties, more deaths to civilians.
Well, the chain of command and the use of live bullets by the military have been heavily criticized by a section of the populace, but Brigadier General Afo is unapologetic. He insists the rules of engagement give the personnel the right to use live bullets where necessary.
Once we take over at that stage, we have a procedure that we follow. Crowd dispersal procedure, which you can relate it to rules of engagement.
And one of your rules of engagement is to use live bullets.
Yes.
Under what circumstance will the military use the live bullets on demonstrators?
When you give verbal warning, when you give warning shots, then within a particular place, you see people firing back from the crowd. Certainly, you'll have to use live weapons, live ammunition. And to maim.
Have you seen the video of the incident subsequently?
Oh, I've only seen a short video yesterday. I think I was watching when you showed a video of civilians chasing a police van.
Well, on his part, the commander who led the battalion to Ijra, Lieutenant Colonel Kwesiwari Pepra, told the committee the hostile nature of the youth prompted the security agencies to use force.
And at about 08:25, the GOC called again that the situation he's hearing is bad. I confirmed with the regional police commander, the deputy regional police commander, and he said they had asked Mampong police to reinforce them. Later, they said if we don't assist, things will get out of hand because the youth had driven the police away at the cemetery and that there was no policeman in Ejra town. They were so hostile to the police that they needed military assistance.
You heard Lieutenant Colonel Kwesiwari. He led the battalion to Ijra. Earlier also we heard Brigadier General Afo is a central commander for the Ghana Armed Forces there, appearing before the three-member committee. Let me take you live to the Prempeh Assembly Hall in Kumasi, where the committee is sitting, and correspondent Erastus Asare-Donko has been monitoring events there. Erastus, what else has come up at the hearing?
Well, so there seemed to be the mention of the video that the regional minister had used to the committee, which gives a description of citizens throwing stones at a water cannon machine. And he told the committee that this prompted a response from the military as well. And that distinction was not made as to this happening early in the morning at the cemetery, 3 hours before the confrontation between the military and the people. And they have also been talking about the use of live bullets, as you heard in there, that they do have a right to use the live bullets, and the rules of engagement has also been explained in there. But when Lieutenant Colonel Pepra also took a seat, he has been advising the media that when they have information, they should call the military and hear their side of the story before they air. And it attracted a response from Professor Vladimir Judanso that they could also have involved the media in their operation so that they will communicate the right information out there. So far, it has been about the rules of engagement. It has been about the fact that the civilians fired. And the question was asked as to for which direction. And they said they would need the commander of the troops on the ground to come in to testify and give further information on that one.
Well, 2 hearings down. What's currently happening and who is before the committee now?
So we do have the police regional command representatives taking their seat right now. We have seen the 2IC, Deputy Regional Police Commander, DTOP David Ajam, and the Regional Police PRO and some members of the Regional Police Command. I understand they are next in the seat. And then we will have a reporter from City FM also take a seat right after them. And then we'll call it a day.
Well, that's my colleague Erastus Asari Donko. I'll take you live to the Prempeh Assembly Hall now and take the hearing of DCOP David Ajiman Ajim. He's a second in command for the Ghana Police Service in the Ashanti region.
About 4:04:05 hours, the police in Nigeria received a complaint from one Haruna Mohammed that his brother Ibrahim Mohammed, also known as Kaka, aged 45 years, had been attacked at about 0200 hours and had been admitted at the Ejura hospital and as such needed police action. Subsequently, police accompanied the complainant to the crime scene at Dagomba Line, house number plot 267, block 4. And at the scene, he pointed to 2 pieces of firewood. One of them was stained with blood, and he reported that these were allegedly used to attack his brother who was on admission at the hospital.
Commander, please, can I come in here? Can we be specific? Which police did the complainant report the incident to? Is it?
My lord, I said Ejura police.
Okay. And it was Ejura police that accompanied him to the scene?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's the second in command of the Ashanti Region Police, DCOP David Ajiman Ajim, currently before the 3-member ministerial committee. Let's head to the Upper West Regional Capital, where a similar probe is being conducted into the conduct of military personnel who brutalized residents there over a mobile phone. Rafiq Salam has been monitoring that. He also joins us on the line. Rafiq, bring us up to speed on the ongoing probe.
So far, 15 of the victims who were allegedly assaulted met the committee. As I speak to you now, members of the committee at the 10 mechanized agri battalion barracks in Wa trying with the in that callous attack on the people. And so tomorrow they are expected to run off today, and then tomorrow they will come back to the 36 to the Upper West RCC, where they will meet 6 of the victims and then wrap up their activities.
But do we know who has been appearing before the committee so far and what they've been telling them?
Yesterday, they visited the Upper West Regional Hospital where they met the 29-year-old vulcanizer Gafuru Mahama, who developed a fracture on the right thigh bone. They met with him, spoke with him, and then after that they came back to the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council, where they had been given an office and where the alleged assault cases are being heard. They met the Upper West Regional Public Relations Officer of the Regional Coordinating Council, and then they spoke to him. And other people who were assaulted, and some of them are having sprains on the arms, they also spoke with them. And they also spoke with the Upper West Regional Police Commander, Upper West Regional Minister, and the Director of the National Investigation Bureau here.
And that's my colleague Rafiq Salam bringing us updates on that ongoing probe also in the Upper West Regional Capital. I'll take you back to Accra, this time to Parliament, where the Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame has justified the department's decision in 2017 to drop charges against members of the NPP's Delta Force in Kumasi who allegedly attacked a court. Responding to questions before the Public Accounts Committee, he insisted that that does not mean an acquittal.
And my vandermate wants to stray beyond the remit of the Public Accounts Committee to go into other matters. But I think the intro for surprise himself, as he stated, is right. It does not amount to an acquittal. And it was an account of the absence of evidence in the view of the Attorney General at that time. And I'm also aware that the CID was supposed to continue the investigations, and they are still continuing the investigations on the matter. I will perhaps have to urge them to speed up investigations. Then also regarding the specific matter which borders on the remit of your committee.
Well, that's Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame. Let's go live to our parliamentary correspondent, Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, on this Public Accounts Committee hearing. So the Attorney General has been giving account of his stewardship under the year in review. What else has come up, Joseph?
Mainly for the years 2017 and 2018, but essentially a bit of time has actually been spent on the issue having to do with the said attack in Kumasi. There was the attempt by Ibrahim Mutala, the MP for Tamale Central, to then insist that there's been situations where when it comes to that specific attack, some individuals had actually claimed responsibility for it in various radio interviews. And he didn't understand how come the police, and for that matter, the AG insisted there was no evidence to actually back the said prosecution. Eventually, the Attorney General made the point that it's something that is still open and the CID could possibly be looking into it further if they choose. And if further evidence comes, then it will be the basis to probably return to the case.
Okay, well, and others are also expected to appear before the committee today?
The Fisheries Commission earlier appeared before the committee this morning responding to questions having to do with various infractions as far as the 2017 and 2018 years are concerned, and they've been defending some of those infractions, insisting that as far as the Fisheries Commission is concerned, they are doing their necessary best to keep various accounts and expenditures in good state, and some of those infractions should not be repeated next year.
That's my colleague Joseph Opoku-Gakpo. Will stay a while longer in Parliament, this time away from the Public Accounts Committee, because the House has referred to its Finance Committee a request by government for a $28 million car loan from the National Investment Bank to members of the 8th Parliament. The medium-term loan is expected to be disbursed to MPs, which they are to pay back in the course of the 4-year duration they stay as MPs. Deputy Finance Minister Abena Osei-Asare leads the request on the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I seek your leave to delete the number 275 for it to reach the purchase of vehicles. Before I present, I lay the paper.
Very well, deleted even now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Medium-term loan agreement among the government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Finance, members of the 8th Parliament, 2021 to 2024, and the National Investment Bank for an amount of $28 million United States dollars to finance the purchase of vehicles for members of the 8th Parliament, 2021 to 2024.
The paper is duly presented. It refers to the Committee on Finance. Consider and report.
First Deputy Speaker of Parliament Jose Owusu there referring that report to the Finance Committee. Meanwhile, Parliament has ordered a probe into recent hikes in the prices of cement, iron rods and other building materials, which the House says is negatively impacting the country's construction industry. Chairman of Parliament's Finance Committee, Kweku Kwating, in a statement on the floor of the House, said the recent increases have been unusual and is putting a strain on the economy.
I rise to formally draw Parliament's attention to some unusual price developments in our markets in respect of building materials, namely iron rods, cement, sand, aggregates, and other materials for construction. In recent times, there have been unusual price hikes of these items on the market, which has understandably provoked complaints from industry operators and consumers in my constituency of Kwasi West and in the entire construction industry in the country.
Well, the majority and minority MPs agreed that the situation is worrying, causing the First Deputy Speaker, Jose Owusu, to order a probe by the Finance Committee, which is expected to report back to the plenary in 4 weeks for a decision by the House on the issue.
I direct the Committee on Finance, assisted by the leadership of Committee on Works and Housing and Committee on Trade and Industry, to investigate the escalation of the prices of building materials and related materials or matters and report to the House within 4 weeks.
Well, it's time for our Drive Safe campaign.
Safe driving saves lives. Drive safe.
And the Motor Traffic and Transport Department of the Ghana Police Service says public sensitization by their personnel to reduce road accidents is not working. It comes as latest data they released showed 200 people died from road accidents last month alone, bringing the total number of people who died this year to 1,450. There's more on the latest data in the following News Desk report.
The carnage on Ghana's roads has for years been a major source of concern, with governments and agencies embarking on numerous campaigns to tackle the menace. However, the situation is not getting any better. Current data shows 200 people died from accidents in June 2021 alone. This brings the total for the first half of the year to 1,450 lives. When compared to the same period last year, it means 316 more people have died this year than the same period last year. Greater Accra and the Shanti regions lead the pack by way of most accidents recorded. Minibuses, taxis and trucks are vehicles that were mostly involved in accidents within this period. The MTTD report also indicates driving without a valid license was the most committed offence, followed closely by drivers using expired document and riders without helmets. Government in 2019 approved 1 billion cedis for implementation of measures including fixing of street lights, road signs, among others, to deal with the situations. The deaths, however, continue, leaving room yet again for calls on drivers to be cautious on the road.
Well, road safety analyst Nanami here says that the nation must utilize technology to deal with the situation.
If you keep on doing the same thing over and over and over again, you will not get a different result. Whatever that we are doing is not working. Sensitization on TV and radio is not working. So we need to look at different methods. That's what I'm talking about, digital era. But we are using a cake method system. Let me give you an example. We have speed tables that are not posted, they are not lit. So when you're driving at night, all of a sudden you're confronted with a speed table that will bump you off the road. These things are adding to the carnage on our roads. But what are you doing about them? That's what the engineers, our engineers, are putting on the roads to stop speeding.
Meanwhile, Director General of the Police MTTD, COP Frederick Edwinim, admits sensitization over the period has not helped much.
Even if you take robberies in which lives were lost, if you take 1 year or 2 years robberies that occurred in which people lost their lives, you will not get this figure for the for recorded in accidents. Likewise, COVID deaths. So it tells you that it's serious and something must be done about it. We are all alarmed. We have to be very innovative. We have to bring changes in our reduced road carriages on the road. We don't have to sit in our offices. We have to go to the ground and do what is right. And by so doing, we have identified all the accident-prone areas in this country. There is a need for us to deploy our officers to such areas.
COP Frederick Edwinim, Director General of the Police MTTD. We'll take a quick break here on the Midday News, but first, our top story: Central Commander for the Ghana Armed Forces claims demonstrators at Ejura shot at them, forcing them to return fire, killing 2 in the process. When we return, more than 2 years after government promised to build hostel facilities for 10,000 headquarters, Joy News checks reveal the pledge is yet to be fulfilled.
Lives of the people of Agbogboloshi matter as much as the lives of the people of East Legon or Kantume.
We have the latest on our Joy Clean Ghana campaign, and later in showbiz we put the spotlight on multi-talented musician, instrumentalist and producer Akwabwa Jr., who's written for several popular musicians but is only starting to get the recognition he deserves.
Do you know that when you dial star 700 hash on Vodafone, you are accessing a world of endless opportunities, from getting a job in another country while right here in Ghana, to playing esports in real time, from attending world-class institutions from your bedroom, to seeing specialist doctors without leaving home, and so much more. So get the best value data offers in Ghana on Vodafone. Get 1.23 gigabyte data, no expiry data for only 5 Ghana cedis, 3.4 gigabyte data for only 10 cedis, and 9 gigabyte data for only 20 Ghana cedis. Dial star 700 hash now.
Vodafone. Together we can.
Thanks for choosing us. It's time for sports. Gary L. Smith is here. I must say thank you again. What's in sports?
Right, so we are having the Euros today. The semi-final is between England and Denmark. The winner of that game will be meeting Italy in Sunday's grand finale. Couple of important things. The game will be at 7 p.m. Build-up starts on Joy Prime and Adum TV at 6 p.m. And remember that yesterday, the multimedia group became the first channel in Africa to broadcast a football match in 4K. We are doing so again for today and Sunday's game, so please stay with us for that one. George Addo Jr. is also at Wembley, and so he's sending us a lot of material you'll be seeing on television and especially on our social media from now till 7 p.m. Meanwhile, in Ghana, FIFA Safety and Security Officer Nick Owusu says policemen cannot be relied on to deal with hooliganism at various match centres. It's become a problem yet to be curbed by the GFA, and the recent happenings in the matches between RTU and BA United and Dreams FC and Brecum Chelsea have put the FA under pressure.
The way football security is delivered is nowhere in the training manuals of the Ghana Police Service. So you cannot and you should not rely solely on the Ghana Police Service, as it were even all other state security agencies, to be able to deliver that. There should be someone who is trained in working with these state agencies to ensure that these deliverables are achieved. So that is why I am highly recommending that the GFA trains and appoints regional safety and security officers.
So that's the sport. Remember also that we have radio commentary of tonight's game here on Joy FM.
We can't wait for that. Thank you very much, Gary Al Smith. Now, many governments have promised and failed to deliver basic services that can support headquarters, otherwise known as KIA. The most recent of these promises is one made by Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia in 2019. My colleague Justice Beidou brings back the promises and goes back into Old Fadama, Ghana's largest slum, to find out if anything has changed.
It is Tuesday, November 5, 2019. Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia has come to Old Fadama. He has a high-powered delegation of government ministers following him. The entire slum is at a standstill. Thousands have come to meet him in pomp and pageantry.
The lives of the people of Agbogboloshi matter as much as the lives of the people of East Legon or Cantonment.
The Vice President is on a promising spree.
We are going to build 4 different 8-unit toilets for this community. President Akufo-Addo says we should build a new one for you. It should be a story building structure so that you can use it for your community activities.
The government has also put in its budget for 2019 a hostel facilities where KIAs will sleep, and is going to set up a scheme to train more than 10,000 KIAs to start their own businesses. It's been 2 years. None of that has happened.
He didn't honor even one of those promises. Once you make up a promise to do something, and based on the basis of which people vote for you, there is the reason for you to come back and honor that promise.
Justice Beidou filed that report. We have reached out to the Vice President's office as well as that of the AMA for some reaction, but they have declined comment for now. It's time for a Clean Ghana campaign.
The breeding of flies here is serious. The stench alone that is emanating here to the neighborhood It's not allowed. Is it not true? You know, why do you do it?
And the campaign team, they're back on the road, this time not promising anything. But Manuel Kranting is with the team. Mr. Klingana, what have you been up to?
Well, MFA, we've been to a couple of public toilet facilities. What we've seen are mostly open air facilities. For the ones that are not open air, they are poorly ventilated, and they use algae-infested water to flush the toilet. What's worse, we've seen the annual cleaning, materials also gathering flies and breeding mosquitoes. The officials of AMA have, as it were, issued out court notices to them, and they are promising to prosecute them. MFA.
That's my colleague Manuel Kranting with the Clean Ghana team, and it's time for Showbiz. Mapito, what do we have? Akwawa.
MFA, today we're putting the spotlight on him, the multi-talented producer, songwriter, and singer. Check this out. Smooth voice, king on the keys, and a fine gentleman are some of the ways to describe this multi-talented artist. The man who hails from Mampong recounts where the music journey started from.
I learned how to sing from church. I learned how to play the keyboard from church. I was part of the choir. And then I came back to Accra. I came to join a band called Joyful Saints.
He has since been preaching different messages, like why you should post your partner.
If the love we share is real, what are you way post to me?
Or if you want your lover to hold you down.
I want someone I can call my own to hold me down.
A crowd favorite is the timeless collaboration with his father, Akwabwa Seen. Yeah, that's
very
right.
Important song.
All right, what's trending on Twitter, MFA?
Well, the president of Haiti's assassination, there's been reactions.
Yeah, Boris Johnson says, I'm shocked and saddened at the death of President Moise. Our condolences are with his family and the people of Haiti. This is a sad act and a call for calm at this time.
And there's more of that on myjoyonline.com, and also a Jura murder detailed account of how suspects in activist murder were arrested. We also have COVID-19. Parliament approves additional $200 million loan from the World Bank. That and more on myjoyonline.com. I am MFA Pau. On behalf of the entire team, thanks so much for being with us on the Midday News. Of course, there's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. We have Words of Salvation with Pastor Menso Tabil. Living Word. Please stay.
This MTN spin the wheel. It is simple. Yeah, top up your airtime. Text spin to 5040 and win your prize. Simple. And you can win up to 30,000 Ghana cedis every month. Text VIP to 5040 to enjoy 10 additional points. I won.
MTN. Everywhere you go.